One of the things that I think probably is one of the nicest things I see coming out of a lot of the work where people are exploring space and use of space and ways of working together is what you see is the richness coming through from professional collaboration. And you say, well, why would you do that? Well, I'm thinking about when I taught on my own in a classroom. Basically, there'd be times where I wanted to give really close help to 3 or 4 kids, and yet I had another 25 or so who were all wanting attention or needs as well. And so yes, I could spend all night structuring different activities so they could be busy while I'm working with these 4 or 5. But what I found as soon as I started to work in a collaborative learning environment where 2 of us were working with, say, 50 kids, or in one case there were 3 or 4 of us working with a bigger team of kids, that it's totally changed the dynamic of how I was able to respond to individual needs. So I had a group of learners who needed my full attention. I could give that because knowing full well that the other teachers were taking care of the other students. And so it gave me a flexibility that I didn't have, an ability to be responsive and really help the individuals. And if you look at what teachers are doing, they're discussing the progress of the kids, they're getting the kids involved in that as well. But then they're actually grouping and regrouping students to actually bring the best of the teachers' resources and the kids' needs together to really help their learning. And so that's one of the wonderful things come out. And of course, you know, when I taught on my own in a classroom, I didn't see better practice. I just had my own way of doing things, and although I might have gone to professional learning or something, the richest professional learning I've ever seen happens when teachers start to work together. They discuss ways they could be doing things, they're getting feedback, giving feedback to each other, they're able to sort of talk afterwards quite openly about what worked well and what didn't. You're no longer a lone ranger, you're actually able to share and learn together, and that's the best way to learn, when you're learning in a real context. Yeah, it seems that, and in many ways it is easier to set up for professional collaboration in primary schools than secondary, but there are lots of great models sort of emerging, and it doesn't have to, like I'm thinking about one school where they actually work in interdisciplinary teams, and so if I'm a science maths teacher, I teach a group of kids science and maths, and you might be the humanities teacher, and or you don't call it that here, social sciences in New Zealand. You might be a social sciences teacher and you might also teach PE. And so basically you have the students for those 2 and I have them, which gives us the opportunity to be able to do some things together, to integrate, to interdisciplinary work, but it also means we've both got another person who knows those same students well. So there are models like that. There's another model where, like at Dandenong High School in Victoria, they actually timetable, when you're timetabled, you're actually timetabled with another teacher. In their case, it's actually 2 other teachers because of their English as a second language needs, but essentially you don't get a class, 2 of you get 50 kids, and it's your responsibility as a team to then design the learning for those. Now they work in disciplinary ways, so the 2 English teachers timetabled at the same time, same 50 kids, they design together what the learning needs, how they're actually going to run the learning. Sometimes it might be one who's got a stronger preference or a stronger understanding of some aspect of the curriculum that they're leading on and the other one's backing up. Other times it can be where one person's doing the really sort of intense work or extension work and others are doing, you know, the other one is actually doing more of the straightforward activities they've designed, all sorts of ways that they can move it around. It is hard for some teachers to do that, but again, we've got to come back to not what's comfortable for me as a teacher, but what's going to make a difference for the kids' learning. Apart from that, I really like the idea that kids see teachers collaborating, because that's the world they're going into. And I can tell you there are some teams I work in where I don't actually get on with other people in the group. Professionally, I have to. And so it's learning how do we learn to collaborate? It's a very important thing. There's not anywhere, I can't think of a job really anymore where you don't have collaboration as part of that job. And so learning to work and collaborate is a really important thing to be modelling